They didn't even wait for the spin. Before ministers could agree on a line, the shockwave hit. Benjamin Netanyahu has issued a blanket ban on UK government officials entering Israel. No carve outs, no quiet back channel exceptions, just a slammed door and a message that cut through the fog. Britain is no longer reliable. 4 days ago, Keir Starmer strutted to a lectern and signaled support for ICC arrest warrants targeting Israeli leaders, then doubled down with a total arms embargo, sweeping up defensive kit Israel says. It needs to stay alive inside Whitehall. They call it moral clarity. In Jerusalem, they call it something else, abandonment. Tonight, we're witnessing the worst rupture in modern UK-Israel relations. And the shrapnel is ripping through Westminster, the city, and Britain's security architecture in real time. Cold open, humiliation in the sky. Foreign Secretary David Lammy took off for Tel Aviv. Halfway across the Med, landing permission was revoked. The aircraft turned back mid-flight. Flight tracking apps carried the humiliation minute by minute to millions of phones. Diplomats can't recall anything like it. Meanwhile, at the UN, Britain's ambassador Dame Barbara Woodward, blindsided by the decision she wasn't briefed on, drafted a resignation letter before Starmer finished at the microphone. That's not dysfunction. That's freefall. PM, Jerusalem time, Netanyahu at the podium, flanked by a granite-faced security cabinet. A nation that abandons allies in their hour of need should not expect friendship in return. Appeasement over democracy. His words landed like bricks through Whitehall windows. By midnight, intelligence sharing framework suspended. Israeli services now class certain British officials as security risks. In private, senior figures are calling the breach permanent. The stakes, what we just switched off. This isn't theoretical diplomacy. Israeli streams of tip-offs have stopped Houthi planned terror attacks on British soil in recent years. Israeli cyber firms shield parts of our critical infrastructure daily. 12 billion defense partnerships are being unwound at speed. Families who once slept under the watch of joint counter-terror programs are staring at a gap. Ask Michael Green, the father who got a midnight knock when Israeli intel foiled a kidnapping plot against his daughter. He credits that pipeline with a life saved. That pipeline? Severed. Former MI6 chief Sir Alex Younger calls Starmer's move the worst foreign policy call since Suez. Lord Robertson warns we've just binned our most valuable regional partner. In the Gulf, the message is just as brutal. Saudi, the UAE, Bahrain, sympathy with Israel's position, and a quiet question. Do British guarantees still mean anything? London now manages the impossible, distrusted by Arabs and Israelis at once. The secondary blast, markets and allies. The pound slips against the shekel as traders price in collapsing trade. 30 bombaniers in bilateral exchange is suddenly in question. British firms are being cut out of Israeli tech consortia at scale. A furious hashtag Britain betrays allies, climbs by the hour. Across the Atlantic, the view is icier. Washington's liaison officers are blunt. The UK-Israel-US triangle that tracks threats across the Med has fractured. One senior American source, if forced to choose between London and Jerusalem, we already have. Yes, inside Five Eyes, the whisper is worse. Reliability. Lose that word and you don't just lose access. You lose status. Inside NATO, allies who count on our spine are asking if the spine is still there. France questions our staying power. Poland, never far from the wolves, wonders privately, would Britain fold on us too? This isn't a bruise, it's an amputation. Whitehall meltdown. Inside number 10, panic replaces policy. Defense Secretary John Healey reportedly labeled the move strategically suicidal in Khabur. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper overheard telling colleagues, "We've made Britain a target without protection." Deputy National Security Council WhatsApps carry the phrase no government wants to read. Foreign policy disaster. Then the leak. MI5 assessments circulating tonight warn Iranian proxies are already probing the seams created by the freeze. Planned ops timed to our blind spots. Think about that. Not rhetoric. A risk curve swinging the wrong way. And the clock? Merciless. Agencies have 72 hours to rewire threat sharing or accept a dangerous blackout. Parliament is being stampeded toward a vote while the red lights flash across the system. The economic arteries clot. Israeli VC freezes British deals overnight. $4 billion in tech partnerships slide toward American firms. The city, long a magnet for Israeli listings, bleeds credibility. Life sciences collaborations, cancer research, pharma pipelines stutter and stalls. Analysts model 10-figure losses across biotech, cyber, defense. Industry follows security. Rafael cancels procurement worth billions. Israeli cyber firms pull protection from energy and finance networks. Even F-35 industrial roles face review. American giants privately ask whether UK partnerships still make sense in this instability. The human chill at home. Iron Dome data helps shield British bases in Cyprus. Israeli networks track threats through the Strait of Hormuz. Mossad cells in Europe have saved British lives you'll never hear about. Strip those layers away, and the exposure isn't academic. It's palpable. Britain's Jewish community feels it first. Synagogues that relied on Israeli security advice are suddenly alone. So, schools rewrite protocols once guided by Israeli experts. The chief rabbi convenes an emergency meeting. Community leaders describe a wave of anxiety unseen in decades. Immigration inquiries tick up. The message they hear from government? You're on your own. Starmer's gamble, Sunak's opening, Farage's drum. Starmer squares his shoulders for cameras. In private, isolation. He misread the map. He didn't grasp the dependencies he was carving up with a soundbite. Meanwhile, Rishi Sunak smells blood. The restoration candidate promising to rebuild every bridge this government just torched. Britain stands with its democratic allies, or it stands alone. The polling? Volatile and brutal. Conservatives punching into the 50s, Labour skidding toward the teens. National security is now the party's exposed underbelly. Out in the country, you can hear the switch click. Voters don't speak in think tank verbs. They ask one question: who keeps my family safe? And tonight, the answer isn't clear. The part no one wants to say out loud. The Five Eyes Trust Ledger is being adjusted right now. The GCC is marking down our guarantees. Europe is hedging. Israel has demonstrated visibly what happens when trust is broken. And here's the sentence that should keep every cabinet minister awake. What happens when the first attack succeeds because we chose to fly blind? History won't care about the hashtag. It will ask who saw the risk and who cut the wire anyway. The road back, if there is one, can Starmer repair a rift this public, this personal, this strategic? Can you undo an expulsion without precedent? Jerusalem says no. Downing Street insists dialogue continues. Between those claims lies the truth. A Britain suddenly smaller, weaker, and less trusted than at any point in living memory. Tomorrow's emergency briefing will reveal how much we can no longer see. Iranian networks moving under the radar. Hezbollah shifts we used to track. Hamas finance lines slipping past European monitors. ISIS affiliates reappearing in the dark corners that only Israeli cyber could light up. In this new reality, ignorance isn't just dangerous, it's fatal. Final word. This was sold as moral clarity. It looks like strategic vandalism. A prime minister chasing applause traded away the hard, quiet partnerships that keep ordinary Britons alive. The bill is coming due in markets, in alliances, in the most sacred ledger of all, public safety. If you believe allies matter, if you believe security is not a slogan, share this so people see what's actually at stake. Drop your take below. Can this be repaired, or has the UK chosen irrelevance over influence? And if you want unflinching coverage while state broadcasters sit on their hands, hit subscribe. This story isn't slowing down, it's accelerating.